So now to date, we give away half of our profit every year, as well as giving a hat to every kid in the country that needs one. And we're starting to give away hats around the world in Canada and the UK and growing from there. So we've given away 160,000 beanies plus, and we've given away over $6.1 million to research and family support. And that's how we feel like we can make the biggest difference and impact.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow? Not only will align your customers to what you're doing, really create positioning for you in the marketplace, but it also creates employee engagement like no other. It will align your employees to really getting something done. They feel dedicated to the mission. They feel dedicated to the work that they're doing, and it really does have a benefit. I want to find a company that has this through its entire fabric of who they are. Love Your Melon is that company. They were number 106 on the 2018 Inc. list. They're over 30 million revenues, and they grew at 100% in the last 3 years. Now, this company is really amazing company because they create these beanies for cold weather for children in hospital. So cancer patients that have lost their hair, small young children, and they're giving away beanies for them. They're also doing cancer research. And so they're giving away 50% of the profit. Now, there's some evolution at the philanthropy of that happened. We talk about it in the full interview with Zachary. Zachary is a co-founder with his buddy Brian from college, and they launched this idea in college. Really great story. So I'm going to share it with you today about how you can create a mission-driven company, about some of the core elements behind that, and then really what you can do with it as you grow fast. And you get to save a lot in how you market. There's a lot of challenges inside that. We talk about some of those with Zachary today. Thanks for tuning in here to Grow Think Tank. Really excited about sharing this with you. And before you run, I have done so many interviews in the last few weeks. I have such an exciting time to share with you that those interviews have been organized into the 12 core principles of fast growth companies. So all you have to do to get that is go to genehammett.com/worksheet. So you can get the 12 principles, and I've been able to go in there and find which episodes will align to each individual episode. When you subscribe to Grow Think Tank, you will find exactly what you need so that you can move forward. And many of them haven't been published yet, depending on when you're hearing this, but you can tune in to the date that means the most to you. So this is Love Your Melon, and here's the full interview with Zachary. Hi, Zachary. How are you?
Hi, thank you for having me on the show.
Well, I'm excited to have you on Grow Think Tank. We're going to talk about the business. We're going to talk about some of the key elements of your leadership. But I would love for you to give us a chance to understand what Love Your Melon is and what they're doing in this world.
We started Love Your Melon when we were in college about 6.5 years ago. And Brian and I started the business as a class project for entrepreneurship. We didn't just want to turn a profit by the end of the semester, though, as the class requirements stated. We wanted to make a difference in the lives of others. So we set out to make these nice warm beanies to keep people nice and warm here in Minnesota in the cold winters, and then also wanted to give them away. So we figured out that children in the hospital needed these warm beanies to be able to stay warm while they were going through their treatment, especially while they lose their hair to the cancer treatment that they're going through. And so we started with 400 hats. We had 200 to sell and 200 to give away. And we sold out within a couple days, and then went and gave those hats away in the subsequent weeks to follow to kids that needed them. And this inspired us to then continue this going forward. And I dropped out of school to turn it into a full-blown company that it is today, now 6.5 years later.
Sounds like it was easier to sell them than it was to give them away.
Well, we had to be very careful. We want to make sure that they were going to every kid that needed one, but done so in a process of personal giving. We wanted to make sure that the kids understood why they were getting a hat and what it meant to be a part of the Love Your Melon community. So we weren't just shipping them around the country to give them away to children's hospitals and they'd end up in storage rooms. We were personally going and delivering them with professional athletes and musicians and superheroes to make sure these kids really felt like they were cared for.
Now, that's a really big step for some college-age kids to create a business like that really wanted to give back. So does this come from something that happened within your family or in your world?
I grew up with my parents doing philanthropic things all the time. They run restaurants. They've run them for 40 years, and they would serve meals to the homeless, or they'd take me to the kids cafe, serving underprivileged families and giving them food and meals and love and support. And so growing up, it just felt like that's where all of my fulfillment and satisfaction like came from, was in giving to others and doing things for other people. And so when we set out to be a part of this entrepreneurship class, it was about running a business and things that my parents had taught me as well in growing up, but also in wanting to make a difference in the lives of others. So we tied the two together. At the time, we were reading Tom Shue's book, Blake Mykowski's book about the 1-for-1 program. So we loved that idea, and that's how we launched it, was as a 1-for-1. Now we do a 50% of profit model that we give, and I'll go into that in detail as well.
Well, when you think about creating a mission-driven company, it seems like it come natural for you. Was that all you considered in the class project? Was this something like this?
Yeah, we had a bunch of different ideas, from water bottles to other gadgets to this hat company that we started doing. And in every one of them, we were thinking about what the give back portion could be. It was on our minds at the time that like this really needed to be a philanthropic effort as well as a business effort for this class project, and what we wanted to do with our lives.
Now, I'm going to fast forward to kind of where you were last year about this time. It came out on the 2018 Inc. list. You were 106. You did a little over 30 million in revenues, and your growth rate was 3,500% plus. You've continued to grow since then. Can you give us just a little idea of where you are now?
Yeah, it's come a long way from being in that class about 6 to 7 years ago. It's coming up on that would have been my sophomore year 7 years ago. And our first year, we sold those 400 hats the 200 hats as a part of the class project, and then gave away the 200. But then we did another like 800 hats that we sold by the end of the year. So we did about $10,000 in sales our first year. After that, the next year we went to $65,000 in sales. We grew from that up to about $1 million the following year. And then it ballooned after that. We went to 5 million, then 13 million, then 21 million, and then 31 million, as you referenced, was when that growth really peaked. And so then last year we did about 33.5 million. And this year I'm on track to do about 35 to 40 million as well. So the growth continues, but it's leveling off. We see it as a healthy trajectory to be on. We're diversifying our interest into other sales channels beyond e-commerce alone. We're doing stuff with licensing and custom products as well as wholesale to really keep our channels diverse and safe in that regard, so as not to rely so much on just one.
Zachary, you've seen some benefit with hiring employees. You have about 30 plus employees right now, and having a mission where you're actually having a give back strategy. Has that been important to the new hires that are coming on and how they engage with work?
Yeah, every time we put up a job posting, we get hundreds of applicants, and it's about going through them and to figure out who's the most dedicated and interested in making a difference, and then who can provide the biggest impact on our growth and our continued success as a company and in our project. We make really important decisions every day to make sure that our model stays true to who we are, that we're providing continued support for these families and kids. And so that's a really important thing to note. Like, people are coming to work for us because they want to be a part of making a difference in these lives of families, and in doing so by helping us run this large apparel company that we've built.
Now, Zachary just talked about hundreds of applications that come in. Now, I talk to so many companies that are looking for the right employees. But this company, because they're mission driven, they have hundreds of people applying to be a part of it. And they get to sift through those people, and they are really engaged with what they do. So you've got to give this a really solid look to how you can actually create something that's mission driven. You could create a separate enterprise. You could create something else with your skills, but you could get your people aligned together in a mission. That's the point. Now back to the interview with Zachary. Now, I know you borrowed a little bit of the idea from Tom Shue's, and there's other companies out here have had a philanthropic kind of mission. What are some of the steps that you took to really make sure that you didn't lose? It wasn't just some commercial play inside the business.
Yeah, we've been careful to be strategic with our mission and what we're doing in the way that we are supporting these families as best we can and providing them what they actually need. So it started as a one-for-one program. That was our initial goal, to set out to give a hat to every kid battling cancer in America. We did that after about a year and a half. We gave away 45,000 beanies, and those were all delivered in hand by superheroes or athletes or musicians. So these kids felt a part of this community, and they were inside of the Love Your Melon mission, being supported that way. After giving 45,000 beanies away, though, we didn't want to just go give away 10 more hats to every one of those kids, or get into the complications of giving away hats around the world where they might not have basic chemotherapy drugs. So we looked at what they needed most in research and in family support, and we adjusted our mission to giving as much as we could, which was 50% of our profit, that we could give away and continue to be a healthy company and continue to grow and support this mission. So now to date, we give away half of our profit every year, as well as giving a hat to every kid in the country that needs one. And we're starting to give away hats around the world, in Canada and the UK, and growing from there. So we've given away 160,000 beanies plus, and we've given away over $6.1 million to research and family support. And that's how we feel like we can make the biggest difference and impact on these kids and families' lives. So having an adjustable philanthropic mission in the way that you do what is needed most, and you're willing to say, okay, a buy one, give one program no longer works for fulfilling the mission of helping these kids as much as possible. And instead we need to go fight this disease through research or providing financial grants for families that are in stress, is really important.
When you think about the price of the hat, I know that there's a cost to actually producing the hat. There's materials inside there. There's distribution cost, just like every other business that has physical products. How much are you charging for the hats to be able to give away 50%?
Our average hat cost is $30 that we sell for at retail.
Okay.
We also do wholesale now, so there's some other margins within there. But how we've been able to sustain this is really through the low cost of social media advertising and e-commerce sales. And so that's our bread and butter. That's what we continue to do and what we'll continue to grow on. But then we are doing some things in wholesale and custom and licensing that does eat away somewhat at that margin, but we're still being able to provide more and be able to grow more as our impact continues to rise year over year. And so what I'd like to talk about is how important it is just to be circular in our mentality of philanthropy.
Sure.
We're not only just giving away hats to kids and providing money away to research, but we're also making products in the US. We're taking care of this community in a holistic standpoint. All of our products are made here in this country. We're going to provide jobs through doing so. And then we're going and providing high quality goods to customers, as well as continuing to support these families in need in our communities through this mission. So it's a circular way of looking at it, in that we can support these communities in every way that they need us.
And there's something beyond this. I want to make sure that we keep this idea of mission first. There's the employee alignment aspects of this, but mission alone, what would you say to organizations that have, service-based businesses that would look to create something mission oriented? Do you have any ideas around that?
For service companies?
Yeah.
Provide mission programs.
Just ideas. I just interested in how you think about this, because there's probably a lot of people listening in here that are like, this sounds great, but we're tax accountants or we're a real estate company, and I don't know how we would actually give away something to, needy children.
Yeah, and it's really at the core of who we are as a company. It's not that we thought of philanthropy as an afterthought of something we wanted to go do for an additional marketing campaign or an exercise and feeling good and doing good, which by no means is that something to look down on. It's just to say the fact that we are authentically our mission. We're built entirely in and around it. Love Your Melon wouldn't exist without being a apparel company that supports kids battling cancer. So that's just inherently who we are. The hats are tied in, the hats that you buy online are the ones that kids are getting in the hospital. That's how it's been since day one. And so it's a different situation with service-related companies, as you talk about, with accounting firms or law firms. It's certainly not what we're doing, and that's not to say it's any worse, because there's great impact that you can have in doing so. just so much as providing like legal fees or for free pro bono work to like the nonprofits that we give money to. Because if you can reduce the cost and give them, and maybe it's not even just so much free time, but like free ideas and like how a nonprofit could do something better. Like if those research dollars, there could be more to spend there rather than spending them on their legal fees, then they can have like a very large impact in the way of like being able to make these nonprofit organizations or other entities out there that are doing philanthropic work smarter as well. Not to just toot our own horn or like sell a product here, but we do a custom program, and that's like the purpose of like growing this brand. In addition to allowing consumers to make a difference, we also have a lot of clients that are different industry experts that create our products with us. They're like promotional goods that you can get a Love Your Melon beanie with our patch on it, but it would say your company logo on it or mission, and then you could purchase those and have an impact on the lives of kids battling cancer through that as well.
Fantastic. Now, I want to switch gears a little bit here, because part of the reason is not just to give back, but you have some magic inside the development of employees and how they're engaged with their work. Tell us a little bit about, I bet you don't have to measure employee engagement because it's probably just natural to the way everyone shows up every day. Is that true?
Yeah, we've got a great team here. Everybody's having a lot of fun, and they're all dedicated to making a difference so that like the engagement level is much higher than you would normally see. There's people that spend late nights at work here all the time, and they're here early as well. And there's a lot of common area talk and conversation and meetings that happens. And it happens within our like clients that do things with us, or our customers as well, and people that are continuing to like support and grow the mission of Love Your Melon, not just by coming and working for us, but by being a corporate client or partner, or by being a customer that continues to spread the word online. There's a lot of word of mouth that's happening for us that's continuing to help grow this and have our impact become larger.
Zachary just talked about engagement level. I want you to think about when you have something that people are coming to work to do that's bigger than themselves, it's bigger than the work that they're doing, it's bigger than money, then you really have something where you don't have to measure engagement. They come in because they want to make a difference. They're working at the company because they want to make a difference. Now, that may not be something that you can do right now, but if you want to talk about what mission-driven means for your business, I bet there's a creative idea around that. I'd love to hash that out with you. So if you want to reach out to me, get to know each other, I'd love to share some ideas with you. I've got some examples from other clients, other people I've interviewed, and we could just see where that would fit with your company. I know there's an idea out there if you want to try to do it. If you want to try to increase the employee engagement and alignment by having something that they could really be a part of. All right, back to the interview with Zachary. Well, when you think about the mission, you've actually had some new ways for people to actually get out there, and because not everyone is able to go to the hospitals. You were telling me about this last week. How are you able to do that now where everyone's a part of the actual process of giving back?
Well, so we have a group of college students that gives away our hats in the children's hospitals at volume every year, because we give away about 30,000 hats. So there's roughly 10,000 college students that we've recruited to do that. And they all wear superhero costumes and they go into the hospitals. It works most efficiently to have them do it because they've got the time, and the hospitals love working with them. They often become volunteers for those hospitals and other nonprofits that we work with too. And they do things beyond just delivering hats, but they give away superhero adventures to the kids. They do birthday parties and lots of other cool things that really can like enhance the experience for these kids as they're going through this treatment, as well as doing things like swab drives for big organizations that need people to be on the registry, so they get mouth swabs, and our campus crew members that deliver these hats do other things like that and fundraise for other nonprofits. So it's a pretty cool program, but that in fact is limited to that certain segment. Everybody else is becoming a supporter by purchasing a product or by sharing the mission online. And then we're launching a new program right now in the coming weeks that'll be our influencer program, but it starts at the micro-influencer level, and people will be able to help support the growth of Love Your Melon by doing that and getting other large influencers on board and growing it up. in that way.
Well, I want to talk to you just a little bit about your leadership style. You've got a co-founder there, Brian. Is that right?
Yeah, we worked really well together. We were the two friends in college that started this, and we're still here every day together. Brian's in the operations and advertising and sales side, and I'm in the more creative product development and visionary side. And so together we supplement each other and we support one another's work. And we've come a long way from just being a couple of college kids.
What's one defining moment that you can share with us about your own leadership? Something where you had to make a big transformation or shift in the way you were showing up for the team.
Yeah, we've had to learn a lot from one another. I talk about it in regards to Brian and I together because we had to learn where the divide happened and where one of us stopped and one started. And so to do that, we had to test a bunch of things out and to learn each other's behavior and skill sets. And we've got great times and bad times, and all of that's built this relationship that we have now today. And so it came a long way. I mean, we were at college together, we were friends together, and then started this company around the same time. And then we even went on a tour for 75 days where we drove around a tour bus around the country delivering hats to children's hospitals. We've grown this from being a very small company to a large company now. And really where I had to adjust probably the most was in having to step back and allow Brian to have more of a direct leadership role over a large portion of the team. So now Brian's our CEO, I'm president, and together we own the company, and we have been able to lead it in a way that he can provide for the daily needs of the team. And then we can work together with our executive team on a level of like visionary work and creation and organizational pieces. And so he's the day-to-day operator, and I'm more of the planner and product development side. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, I appreciate you being here on Growth Think Tank. Before we wrap this up, what would you say to other businesses that were considering having some type of mission-driven approach as the core of their business? What would be the one thing that you would want them to think about?
Well, one thing we talked about last week that was really important is about how you engage your core team when you're a philanthropic mission-driven company. Because the people coming to work for us, when they're signing up for a job, they're expecting they're going to have a very apparent impact on the lives of kids battling cancer every day. And that's what you have to fulfill when you hire these people, is to be able to show them that impact that we're having. Because if they don't understand it, your customers and supporters aren't going to be able to understand it, because these are the storytellers that we're bringing on, whether it's the sales team or to the social media team or the content team or even the product development team. So whenever somebody comes to work here, we have to spend a lot of time giving them those opportunities to really personally make a difference, as well as be able to make a difference through simply designing a new hat. So we try to give them the understanding of how that makes an impact, just the basic needs of their job, but then also having that impact themselves, being able to go give away a hat or being able to go to a superhero adventure or go read a book to a kid in the hospital. And so we spend a lot of time developing that feeling of really personal impact and fulfillment, because it's so core to us. Since I grew up and since we started this together, Brian and I, we've been so fulfilled and satisfied because of the work that we're doing to better the lives of these kids, in addition to being able to run a cool apparel company. So it's tied in hand together, and we've got to make sure we provide that to all of our employees and team that's coming on board, because they're expecting that as well.
Well, that is a really good point, because it's kind of that full circle of create a mission-driven company, but you got to have people that are actually a part of the process, because they're coming there. You get 400 applications for a reason. You don't want to leave them out of that giving chance. So Zach, really appreciate you being here. Love the concept. Love Your Melon is a great product. I would suggest anyone checking that out, especially if they love their head, right?
Yeah, thank you for having me. What you said, it's really important, this circular mentality of, okay, you start a company. It might not work for everybody that is listening here, that you might be providing services in a different way, or providing other creative ideation or products or whatever you're making. there are ways for you to go make an impact. And whether it's providing your services or it's providing gifts to those in need, I would just encourage you to make sure there's an authentic connection between what you're doing as a company and what you're providing philanthropically. It makes so much more sense if like the hats that you're selling to customers are the ones you're giving to kids that need them because they lose their hair. That connection is what makes people realize the importance of it and makes it so fulfilling. So I think there are a lot of opportunities for you to look at whatever company you're running and to say, okay, what are we doing and who could need this work, whether it's legal services or whether it's accounting services or creative services, and who could possibly use that, or maybe it's a product. In our case, we took a really warm beanie that we made for cold Minnesota winters and wherever it's cold anywhere, and then we provided those same beanies to kids in the hospital because they lose their hair to cancer treatment and they get cold in those rooms. So that tie-in there is very important. And then we made those products in the US, providing jobs to the communities that we were inherently supporting. And then that team that we hired on to bring all of this to light was in fact the part of the impact that was being made as well, in providing those hats and in providing those adventures. And so that's where that circular mentality of authentic philanthropic work has come to light with what we're doing.
Love it. I appreciate you summarizing that for us. And I really appreciate you being here, Zach. Thank you for everything that you've shared.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Wow, that's a fantastic conversation. I really enjoy talking about creating something different, creating a mission. Now, this young kid had this idea in college with his buddy, Brian, and they decided to do something, and they did something small. They took a small step forward, and that related into a bigger step and a much bigger step. And now they have a $30 million company and really reaching people and raising millions and millions of dollars for cancer and for these young kids and doing it in a very unique way. I love the story. It reminds me of one of my clients, Adam Walker and Jeff Hillemeyer, stepped back and said, I want to give back to our world, but they have a service-based business. And that was launched an idea for 48 websites in 48 hours. So 48and48.org. Adam used to be a client of mine and we really enjoyed working together, but they took it to a step further by giving away this free websites to nonprofits. And they've done this hundreds and hundreds of times, and they've done it in Atlanta, New York, Minneapolis, Boston, London, and beyond. So I share this with you because you don't have to just give away a product in order to create a mission-driven company. You can do something special. You can, align people to something that's beyond where you are right now, and that would help the employees do this. I've seen the benefit happen for Jeff's company and for Adam's company. So just another idea of a way to look at this mission-driven approach. Thank you for being here at Growth Think Tank. Thank you for sharing this episode with someone that you think would find benefit from it. And thank you for being a part of our community. So tune in to the next episode and always lead with courage. We'll see you next time.